for this video we're going to try and make a bullet today. In the previous video we tried and we made a barrel which is pretty low poly at 800 vertices, and you can even make it lower, but for the purpose of the video it's at this level. Now today, as we're making a bullet, I'm going to go into the second layer. I'm going to keep them all together just for file usage. I'm going to go into the assets I've downloaded. I'm going to drag our bullet in, and I'm going to do exactly the same as I did before. Turn the opacity up and move this over to the side, about here, and even rotate it 90 degrees just so it's easier to model with. For today, we're probably going to make a bullet out of a cube, out of like a rectangular shape. So Shift A, and we're going to add our cube in. Now, for starters, I'm just gonna vertices, and I'm gonna move it up, turn proportionally enough, and then scale it on the Z up to about here, and out on X and Y. So Shift to Z to about here, just so we've got the right, about the right proportions to the bullet in the image, which I'm just going to try and base on. So we're going to start with this for now, and so I mean you can't really make a rounded object so easily out of this, but the way I'm going to show you will make life a little bit easier. So first I'm going to make a loop cut about here for that line. I'm going to make one here. I'm going to scale that in, and I'm going to scale the top in to kind of round off that point. I'm going to move that up a little bit. Now, to make this work, I'm going to bring this down to the same level. So I'm just going to check the same level by pressing Z to go into wireframe mode, and I'm going to make that exactly the same level here. And I'm going to just add a loop cut here, because I know that when we use the subdivision modifier that it won't like that angle. The top we can leave as it is because we want it rounded ideally, and this can work like that. So we're going to start with making the bottom, so we're going to add one here, I'm going to add a loop cut here, I'm going to add a loop cut here. And then for these we're going to right click these two, I'm going to extrude, scale, Shift Z, so we're scaling on the X and the Y, and we're going to scale inwards, and then we're going to press scale on Z just to shrink it a little bit, and we're going to bring it down, and then we can bring this up a bit, and then this will act as our loop cut. And if we add a loop cut here, and then that can go up a little bit just to help the roundness of the shape. I'm going to add a loop cut. We'll see how this goes. So it doesn't really look like a bullet so far, but we're going to go into our modifiers panel. We're going to add the subdivision surface modifier. Now that already looks a lot more like this. Now if we can add it up to 2 subdivisions, then that will help us get a better idea of where we're going. And then if we click smooth, it already looks a lot like the bullet that we've got in the image. Now if I just go back to 1 for the purpose of the video, we can add a couple more subdivisions here to keep that point a little bit better, so we can have that as a more defined point, and then going off on that angle that it does, like so. So it goes up and then it hits that point and rounds off. Now for this bit, you can see I had a feeling we'd need that subdivision here to just sharpen that edge a little bit. Now for the bottom, I'm just going to move this a little bit closer so you can see it. Our bottom is rounded off a little bit, so we can add a subdivision here and bring it down just to flatten that out. Another thing we can do is add a subdivision here to sharpen that edge, and add subdivisions here, and then there's one already, no there isn't, add one here to define that sharp edge. And that is pretty much your bullet. So if we turn that up to the 2, you can see we've got the sharp edge here, as we have on the reference. We can probably do with bringing that up a little bit higher just to sharpen that off a little bit more. And then we also have, bring this up a little bit more, a sharp edge here, which helps define the front of the bullet. And that is how you make a bullet out of a 4-sided rectangle. Thanks for watching.